everyone, and welcome back to this channel, OHL in 20. This is where we break down all 20 OHL teams and cover trades, team stats, predictions, and much more. In this video, we are going to be recapping all of the trades that have happened since June 4th in the Ontario Hockey League. I'd like to give a big shout out to on the Twitter page at OHL Trade. This is the OHL tracker page that covers all of the OHL trades that have happened over the past number of seasons. So thank you for that. We're going to start on June 4th, and this trade was between the Flint Firebirds and the Kingston Frontenacs. The Flint Firebirds acquired Chris Thea Bordeaux and a fourth 2028 draft pick from the Kingston Frontenacs in exchange for a second round 2027 Sault Ste. Marie third round pick 2026, a third round pick for 2028, a Mississauga fifth round pick from 2025, a fifth round pick for 2027, a 15th round pick from 2025, and a conditional second round pick for 2028. So what is this going to do for the Flint Firebirds? Well, if we look at the trade that just happened above, and this was between the Flint Firebirds and the Sudbury Wolves, this was a big trade between these two franchises. The Flint Firebirds acquired Nolan Collins, Joshua Colosimo, Evan Koinan, and Matthew Mania from the Sudbury Wolves in exchange for Dax Klingshammer and Gavin Ewells, a Kitchener second round 2027 pick, a Sault Ste. Marie second 2027 pick, a Barrie third round 2027, Mississauga third round 2027, a Sarnia fourth round 2025, a fourth round 2028, a Peterborough fifth round 2027, a seventh round 2025, and a ninth pick 2025. My goodness, this is huge because, well, the Flint Firebirds and the Sudbury Wolves, these are two franchises that have been very good over the past couple seasons. But could we see one of these teams taking a step back and rebuilding their franchise? This is a huge trade, and this came on the same day as that other Flint trade for Chris Theoborodo. Uh, this is this is huge for the Flint Firebirds. And I think personally, in this trade, I believe that the Flint Firebirds won this trade. As we go to June 6, the Niagara Ice Dogs acquired Matthew Virgilio from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in exchange for a Kingston second round 2026 pick, a Flint third round 2025 pick, a North Bay fourth 2026 pick, and 10th overall pick of 2026. Again, you can see that the Niagara Ice Dogs are continuing to build up their franchise, starting to acquire more players over the course of this offseason. And honestly, like I said in the introduction video, I don't think that the Niagara Ice Dogs are going to be that playoff contention team this coming season, but the following season for 2025, 2026, we could see the Niagara Ice Dogs as a very dominant competitor in the Ontario Hockey League. And I believe that the Niagara Ice Dogs are just getting started by acquiring strong, reliable picks and trades, just like this one that we just saw. While we move up to June 24th, the Kingston Frontenacs acquired Nolan Lalonde. He's the goaltender from the Saginaw Spirit in exchange for a conditional 15th round pick of 2026. What is this going to do for the Kingston Frontenacs? Well, again, the Kingston Frontenacs are kind of that team that's trying to leapfrog the Ottawa 67s for this next season. Can the Kingston Frontenacs find good, solid goaltending in Lalonde? Because you got to remember, Lalonde, he was with the Saginaw Spirit for that Memorial Cup run that the Spirit just had against the London Knights. So could the Kingston Frontenacs be that dominant competitor going into next season? I really believe they will be. If the Kingston Frontenacs can keep acquiring players like this, They're definitely going to be very successful, and they might be, again, one of those top competitors in the near future that we see competing with teams like Niagara and Ottawa and maybe even Sudbury. This is a team you're going to want to look out for in the future. But the Kingston Frontenacs weren't done there. As mentioned, the Kingston Frontenacs acquired Thomas Huron from the Ottawa 67s in exchange for a Niagara fourth round pick of 2025, a conditional Flint fifth round pick of 2027, and a conditional Sarnia seventh round pick of 2027. Again, the Kingston Frontenacs continuing to build that roster and again, acquiring it from one of their rivals, the Ottawa 67s. Now, again, mentioned in the introduction video, could we see the Ottawa 67s as one of those dominant teams in the future? Maybe not in the next couple seasons. I believe that the Ottawa 67s are going to take that step back to regroup themselves. So maybe the Kingston Frontenacs are maybe just that one step ahead of them to claim that last playoff spot if they happen to find themselves in that same position again. But here we go again. The Kingston Frontenacs acquire yet another player. It's a Montreal Canadiens prospect in Cedric Gudjon and a 10th round 2028 pick from the Owen Sound Attack in exchange for a Flint second round 2027 pick, a Kitchener third round pick for 2026, a fourth round 2027, a fifth round 2028, and a 10th round 2026. The Kingston Frontenacs are just continuing to build up that experience. Not only is Cedric a very talented individual, but he's also a prospect of an NHL franchise, my NHL franchise. Thank you very much. The Montreal Canadiens. The Kingston Frontenacs just continuing to add that depth onto their roster. And again, you just saw the previous accusation. Before that, they acquired Thomas Urinen from the Ottawa 67s, plus that goaltender Nolan Lalonde from the Saginaw Spirit. So this is going to be a very dominant Kingston and competitive franchise for the Frontenacs going forward in the future. Let's move to August 6, where the Brampton Steelheads acquired Seattle Kraken prospect Carson Raycroft from the Kitchener Rangers in exchange for a Peterborough second round 2025 pick, a Guelph second round 2026, second round 2027, Kitchener third round 2025, Peterborough third round 2025, third round 2028, a London fourth round 2025, Peterborough fourth round 2026, fourth round 2027, and a seventh round 2026 pick. We talked about how dominant the Steelheads were in Mississauga before they moved to Brampton. Again, they're building up this roster. They're continuing to add depth. They want to be that new playoff contention. They don't just want to be a competitor, they want to be the top team in the league. You can see by all these new players they're acquiring. And we saw how good Raycroft was in Kitchener last season. And I just can't even put into words of how dominant this Steelheads team is going to be. If you're the North Bay Battalion or the Oshawa Generals or even teams like the Sudbury Wolves, who are just on the cliff of trying to build yourselves back up, you're going to have to be very, very cautious about this Steelheads team because you got to remember they're going into a new barn in their new relocated home of Brampton, and they're going to be even stronger, I believe, that they were actually in Mississauga. Mississauga was strong, but I think they're going to be even stronger as they perform in their home opener and their first season in Brampton as the Steelheads. We move on to August 7th, where the London Knights acquired Liam Spencer from the Brampton Steelheads in exchange for a seventh round 2025 pick. Well, Liam Spencer, he was a very dominant force with the Steelheads last season in Mississauga. But the London Knights, they pretty much are the face of the OHL. They play at Budweiser Gardens, the biggest arena and the biggest, most successful franchise in the Ontario Hockey League. And now they add such an experienced player who just played with the Steelheads coming into a very successful franchise that they could use his talents on and off the ice. And not only that, but I believe he's going to also be a leader for this Knights group too. You can see that he brings that that experience of leadership and talent to this London Knights roster time and time again from experience that he had in Mississauga. Well, the London Knights also picked up a second round pick 2025 from the Brampton Steelheads also in exchange for a second round 2028 pick and a Windsor fourth round pick of 2025. Well, even though these are only draft picks, this will still benefit the London Knights in the future, as well as the Brampton Steelheads, because, well, when players leave and go, if they don't continue their OHL career and they don't end up going to the NHL or even the AHL or continue their hockey career, that's where more roster space opens up for these clubs and they can take the advantage of, using talented players for a very well draft pick that they have access to. Well, we were going to look now at the last place team of the Western Conference last season, the Windsor Spitfires, and they acquired Tinas Mathernan and a 13th round pick 2025 from the North Bay Battalion in exchange for a conditional Brantford second round pick 2025, a fourth round pick 2026, a sixth round pick 2026, and a 13th round pick of 2025. I think the Windsor Spitfires, yes, they did take that season last year to rebuild and regroup themselves. But by acquiring Mathernan from the North Bay Battalion, North Bay, who was a very competitive and dominant team in the Central Division last year, and as well as in the Eastern Conference, not to mention that they were facing the Oshawa Generals in the Eastern Conference final last year. But Windsor Spitfires, they're not messing around. They're not going to take every single season to, calm themselves, take a break, just go with the flow. They're going to keep building time and time again. Maybe they don't make the playoffs one season, maybe they come so close by a point, but they're going to keep rebuilding for their future. Even if it's not for this coming season, it's going to be for the seasons ahead. Well, we look now again to the Brampton Steelheads, where they also acquired Spencer Sova and a 15th 2028 pick from the Erie Otters in exchange for Coben Bryan, a 15th round pick 2028 and conditional second round picks of 2025, a Sarnia fourth round pick of 2026, and a fourth round pick for 2028. Again, Steelheads building that future. They're bringing the captain of the Erie Otters over to the Steelheads franchise for their very first season in Brampton. What is this going to look like for the Steelheads? We saw that they just acquired Carson Rakoff from the Kitchener Rangers, but they let go of Liam Spencer to the London Knights. So this was a very interesting move by the Erie Otters to let their captain go, but at the same time, maybe Spencer Sova wanted a change in scenery and environment. Maybe he wanted to leave more into the Western Conference and show his talents, what he can prove out there. But again, he does bring that leadership of being a captain to the Steelheads franchise. So it will be very interesting to see what he's capable of bringing to Brampton in their first season. We move on to pretty much 5 days ago. The Erie Otters acquired Gabriel Frasca and an Owen Sound 10th round pick of 2028 from the Kingston Frontenacs in exchange for a second round 2027, a second round 2028, a third round 2028, a Sarnia third round 2026, a fourth round 2028, and a 10th round 2026. This is an interesting move because I saw Frasca play time and time again with Kingston. He was very dominant. You got to look at, the other Frasca, Jacob Frasca for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. He had experience with the Barrie Colts. Um, I believe he just signed with a university, so he's no longer playing in the OHL. But Gabriel Frasca, I believe it's his brother, he is bringing that talent over to the Erie Otters from what he was able to bring to the Kingston Frontenacs organization. This brings us to the three-way trade between the Barrie Colts, the Flint Firebirds, and the Niagara Ice Dogs that happened 5 days ago. So the Barrie Colts, here, let's break it down here. So what originally happened was the Flint Firebirds traded Dallas Stars prospect Tristan Bertucci to the Niagara Ice Dogs. However, the Niagara Ice Dogs ended up trading Tristan Bertucci to the Barrie Colts in exchange for Jack Barucki and Blair Scott from the Barrie Colts. And pretty much going to Flint was Artem Frolov, Urban Podikar, and Hayden Reed, along with an Oshawa second round 2025 pick, a Peterborough second round 2026 pick, North Bay third round 2026, Sudbury third round 2027, and an Owen Sound third round 2027 pick. That was all going to the Flint Firebirds. Not only did the Niagara Ice Dogs then acquire Brody and Blair Scott, but they also acquired a conditional Peterborough third round 2028 pick, a Flint eighth round 2025 pick, a Flint 14th round 2025 pick, a Kingston fourth round 2025 pick, a Barrie second round 2026 pick, and a Windsor third round 2027 pick. Then again, Tristan Bertucci, a prospect of the Dallas Stars, ends up landing with the Barrie Colts after originally being traded to the Niagara Ice Dogs from Flint, but the Barrie Colts ended up making out a deal with a three-way trade between those other two franchises. So again, Barrie, could they be a playoff contender? I mentioned it in the introduction video. Could the Barrie Colts be a playoff contender? I do, but I don't think they're going to get over that hump. If the Ottawa 67s and the Kingston Frontenacs weren't in their way, along with the Sudbury Wolves, I think the Barrie Colts could escape with another playoff run. But I think just this season, again, Peterborough might even take advantage of that, jumping over the Barrie Colts, where again, the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Barrie Colts most likely won't make the playoffs this season. We're gonna have to find out, but at least this is a really great accusation by the Barrie Colts, bringing in Tristan Bertucci from Flint, originally from Niagara. So we only have three more trades to really announce that has happened over the past couple of weeks. These ones happening over the past couple of days, this past week. The Peterborough Petes acquired Matthew Jenkin from the Flint Firebirds in exchange for a third round pick 2028, a sixth round pick of 2026, and a conditional Windsor fifth round pick of 2027. Peterborough, obviously, we know they won the championship 2 seasons ago. They took the step back just to regroup themselves, not making the playoffs this past season, but at least they do make an accusation, bringing a trade from the Flint Firebirds, a team that's very been dominant, very active in the OHL this past season, both on the ice and in the offseason, bringing Matthew Jenkin to the Peterborough Petes organizations. This will be very cool to see what talent Jenkin can bring to this Petes club. And is he capable of, fitting in with this Petes lineup, a roster? Will we see him on the first or second line? Probably not, but I would say he's probably going to be on that third or fourth line with the Petes. That would be my prediction for this upcoming season of where Jenkins stands on this Pete's roster. The Owen Sound Attack 4 days ago acquired Bruce McDonald from the Erie Otters in exchange for a sixth round pick of 2027. The Owen Sound Attack, very dominant, but they've kind of been more like that Guelph Storm team, I'd say, over the past year or so. They do bring a very talented individual like Bruce McDonald to the Owen Sound Attack organization from the Erie Otters. So it will be interesting to see what he can also produce with this attack club. This trade came down between the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Sudbury Wolves. The Niagara Ice Dogs acquiring Noah Van Vliet and a 15th round pick of 2026 from the Sudbury Wolves in exchange for a 15th round pick 2026, a conditional pick of North Bay third round 2027, a Saginaw fourth round pick 2026, and a fifth round pick of 2028. The Niagara Ice Dogs continuing to add that depth onto their roster, acquiring Noah Van Vliet. He was fantastic. He was phenomenal last season for the Sudbury Wolves. And the Niagara Ice Dogs just going out and claiming him to bring him on to their very own roster We saw that the Niagara Ice Dogs haven't made the playoffs in since like 2019. So it's been a while since a championship in hockey have come to this Niagara Ice Dogs franchise. Well, we saw that the Niagara River Lions brought a championship in the CEBL basketball playoffs this year. But can the Niagara Ice Dogs hockey team make a run to their playoffs? Again, maybe not this season, but we could probably see it coming next season, depending what the Niagara Ice Dogs are capable of claiming. We still have another week until the preseason starts for the Ontario Hockey League. So we might see more trades going down. If not in the OHL, we might see some more coming from teams like the Niagara Ice Dogs, the Kingston Frontenacs, the Flint Firebirds, and maybe even the Sudbury Wolves. We'll have to see. But this is just a breakdown of all of the trades that have happened since June 4th. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe to get more videos like this. And be sure to look out for more videos being posted weekly as we cover the OHL and the upcoming season and what a lot of these teams will be capable of going into the 2024-2025 season. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.